Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing? Corinne Clapham here. Happy Saturday, but it really doesn't matter what day it is because people don't know what day it is half the time anyway. So who gives a shit at this point? So I want to talk about Amazing Grace, which I feel actually interesting that I just used the SHIT word and then grace after. I normally don't swear, so I don't know where they're from. Not to say that I don't, because I do. And I realized the framing is a lot bigger with Instagram, so you can see my boobs through my shirt. I wanted to actually come on here to make a message, and I did have the thought in my head, do I change a shirt? Do I cover this? And I thought that was so ridiculous. Why are we covering our body? And why is it that men can walk around so freely and not worry about people taking pictures, not worry about cops coming up and giving a fine or a ticket for being topless, not worry about being exposed on videos or anything. And yet women, we have to cover this up. What is up with that? Listen, I would say majority of us have grown up with getting our food from here. All your mouths have been on one of these in one way or another. So I don't know why this is so shamed in this society, but that will shift and change because, as we know, there's a lot of things shifting and changing. That does not make sense. So I didn't even really expect to go on that rant, but it happened, and I'm going to trust everything that comes up as it should. My main reason for coming up here is because I don't know about you, and definitely let me know in the comments below because I would love to know. But sometimes I get a song in my head, and yes, we get a song in our head because maybe we went into a store or we're listening to a song and it's in our head. But sometimes I just randomly get them, and there's periods of time in my life where every morning I will wake up and I will have a line or two from a certain song playing. And for me, the way I interpret that and I see that and I feel that is one of my spirit guides coming through that's coming through and communicating. So, what do I mean by that? For some of you, this is very common. You're like, yeah, you already know the language and the signs that you get. And some are like, I don't know what she's talking about. What is she talking about? Spirit guides. So, I believe, and you don't have to adopt this belief, but I believe that we do have people that are not in physical form who have passed over, who are spirit guides. Sometimes it's people that we know that have passed over in this lifetime. Sometimes it could be some of our ancestors. Sometimes it could be someone completely unrelated in terms of like family dynamic as we know it here on earth. And then we have angels. And then we have our archangels. We have saints. I mean, really, it just like it's infinite the amount of guidance and love and protection that we all have. And I believe that they all have a certain way of communicating. Just as we are as humans, we're all different, right? The way we communicate, and we can all speak the same language. You know, for example, there could be a large mass of people who speak English and French or whatever, but still within that, they're going to be unique in their communication styles. And that's kind of how our personalities are. We have different personality traits. Even though we can be very similar with people, there's something that's very different. It's the same way as how I see my guides. And I can see that because the way that each of them communicates with me is in a very different way, just as the way humans communicate with us is very different from one person to the other. So I believe that one of my spirit guides comes in the form of music, and will have specific lines of lyrics that shifts through. And I have to say, over years, Amazing Grace always pops into my head. Amazing Grace, that song. It was such a beautiful song. I'm sure most of you know it. And if you don't, that's okay. You will now. It is so beautiful. And it popped back into my head this afternoon. I was like, oh, I feel like singing it. I love singing it. And, you know, we're very lucky we can Google or YouTube the song and sing along with it. And there's a lot of different variations of it, but the lyrics are pretty much standard the same. And I always gravitate towards this one group who's singing Soweto gospel group. And it's just so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like so soulful. And I actually wanted to share it. So that thought came in, and then I wanted to share it on my Facebook because I want other people to be able to listen to it. And not only that, if you actually, sorry, I said my battery is running low. but I'm going to say it's recharge and hopefully it doesn't cut off. So, with the lyrics, I wanted to post it because it's really interesting. It's saying, "Oh, I once was blind, but now I can see. I once was a wretch." By the way, I had to Google what a wretch was because you hear the word and you think it's absolutely horrible. But I Googled the definition, and it was someone who was sad or depressed. And the thing is, like, some people are there right now, and if even if not, some of us have probably experienced that in our life already. And I know I did. Um, when I was young, and actually, this is what I want to share. So, when I was younger, and I'm not going to go in detail, but just the core message here. Um, when I was younger, I'm trying to think of what age I was. I don't know. Probably 14 ish. So I went to Catholic school, but yet my mom and dad were both, they're not very super into religion. Like they're not very, like they don't feel that they need to go to church or this and that. If anything, I was more the one who wanted to do that. But I was in a Catholic school, middle grade 10, I left. But before that, my parents had put me and my sister and I, in um, a youth group. And I think maybe it was a Catholic church, Christian church, I don't remember, but it was a youth group. And our youth leader was super, super cool. It's like, if you've ever had someone, and I hope everybody's had someone like this in their life or has someone in their life like that, where it's like no matter how down you feel, all of a sudden when you're around them, it's like you feel so much better. And you feel that you could reach out, and even though it was like not a friend since the same age, it was something older. I always felt like that was my go-to, especially through a very tough time, because I didn't feel like I could go to my parents. Not that they weren't there, they would be there, but it's like you don't always feel comfortable with that. They don't know, like they're also learning to navigate things. And so that was kind of my go-to person. And just yesterday, I was with some friends, and we're outside just having outdoors in nature, spending time with each other. And someone was telling them some of their stories in the past. And it actually, I don't want to use the word triggered because sometimes we hear the word triggered and we associate that with bringing up something that put us in a negative spiral. But it um, boosted a memory in my head about when I was younger and I was going through quite a lot of difficult times. I was like just very deep depression, anxiety, suicidal. Like it was a whole different realm. But before I was even that deep in it, just before, I remember I went to a youth group retreat. And I remember this youth leader talking about her story and her situation and what she went through and how she overcame it. And I'll always remember this moment. And this is what came up for me again when I was listening to Amazing Grace today. And this is why I want to share it because I feel like it's very important. And before I even say it, I just want to tell you, if God is not your thing or you don't believe in that religion or whatever it is, please just replace it with a word that you want. Because I find too often we have associations with things and our ego and our mind wants to like put a full stop to it and run away. And then we miss out on the message that could deeply serve us only because there was something surface that the ego or the mind got tripped up on. So please, if it's not your thing, replace it with a word that is. And if you still don't know how you feel, like you're like, I don't believe in anything like that, then just put a word to it that will symbolize something that invokes something pure to you, whether it's grace or universe or love or joy, like whatever it is for you, just replace it with that. And I remember she was talking, and then she had said something along the lines of, if you don't believe in God, ask for something right now that God can show you that He is there. There's something along the lines there. Now, I was young. I probably did, I don't want to say silly because I'm doing a judgment detox right now. So I'm going to not judge myself on what it was. But I probably said something along the lines like, I don't know, lots of candy or something. You're young. So whatever it is for you. But the meaning of the story was it was putting out an intention. It really was putting out a prayer. But if the word prayer doesn't resonate with you, use the word intention. It's kind of the same thing. But putting out an intention or a prayer, please show me you're here and that it's here. And it can come and manifest in a lot of different ways, just so you know. And I don't remember what it was that I put for myself, what I put for myself there. So I can't even tell you if it came true, but I'm going to believe it did because I know God or universe or infinite, whatever it is there, has definitely proved many times that it is there. And there's times where we also get tested about faith. Sometimes when we don't see it, that's when we show up with faith. But I'm just letting you know if that's something you want to put in for yourself right now, intention or prayer, and then let go of how it shows up. I encourage you to. I also want to share the link to this beautiful, beautiful gospel choir singing it. It really it's a really beautiful song, and so I'm gonna link that there. Put the intention if it feels right, and just know that we are always supported. And just know if you're just putting it out there for anything. I always tell my Reiki students, anybody in this capacity, when we call in God or anything like that, I like to say divine pure light, because just how we have so many different vibrations, personalities here on Earth is the same above. So we never just want to call in something. You would never just invite the whole neighborhood to your house for a party. You would probably be a little bit more selective. And if you do that, that's cool. I mean, that's your choice. But most people would be a little bit selective who they would invite in. It's the same thing. We want to be very selective and just put the intention of what we're calling in. So if you're calling in for guidance of something, I personally like to follow up with divine pure light. It's the purest you can get. And you know that energy is coming through to help serve, protect, guide, whatever it is that you're asking for. Okay, so I hope that nourishes your heart and soul in one way or another, because it is so important to be doing that. And I don't care if people are telling you not to do that. I don't care if people are like, you need to like do this and do that and like screw your own rights and thoughts in this. Like, you put yourself first, because guess what? You cannot support another person if you are not in a good, healthy place. Cancel that. I don't want to put that belief system out there. Let me rephrase this. We can better support people when we are in a more balanced and grounded place. So take care of yourself, your mental health first, and we elevate and rise everyone together. Sounds good? Much love, Instagram, and much love, YouTube, and much love, Facebook.